This is day 9, daily number 445, where we learn to be a better gamer. I'm rather excited about today's topic as we are going to take a look at LastShadow's 6 racks crazy aggro TvP style, so you can have a way to both maybe win early with mass marines, but most importantly, crush your opponent through and through and through. And of course, we're going to get a little bit of an intro to who LastShadow is for any of you who are not privy to his Brood War prowess or privy to his now StarCraft 2 prowess. Either way, we'll go through all that. First, I just want to give an extra special, wonderful heart to everyone who's just so nice. That's so great how incredibly nice the StarCraft community is. As a matter of fact, I was just showing this pre-chat. I have a stuffed bunny named Manfred. And one of the wonderful Wubulous Day 9 viewers sent me superhero outfit for Manfred. Look at it. He even has a mask to hide his identity. He has the M for Manfred. Or perhaps it's women for women's restroom. I don't know. But he is a superhero bunny indeed. Blasting off. That is so awesome. Come on. Hang out here, Manfred. Actually, I'm going to set you over here to the side. What a good bunny. You guys are awesome. You're so nice. Just want to say thanks. And of course, thanks for tuning in. Now, I do want to note a little bit about today's topic that excited me quite a bit because not only are we going to be introducing a variety of stuff, but I got the chance to talk to LastShadow today a little bit about the strategy. And oh crap, sorry, I can't go into that yet. Fun Day Monday tomorrow. I remember I was trying to process what the other thing I need to announce. Fun Day Monday tomorrow. The topic is the following. Play in a 2v2 whereby one of you must play as Terran and may only build ghosts, medevacs, and nukes. That's it. Sure, you can build workers, but in terms of units, only ghosts, medevacs, and nukes. And every time you launch a nuclear missile, you have to say some sort of line that Dr. Zeus would say. Like 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, nuke fish. Anything like this will do. Send those to Monday at day9.tv. And make it 2v2 so it's fun. And I want to see some Vortex nukes. Please send them in. Ding! So, I want to begin today by saying, who the hell is LastShadow? LastShadow is really probably the most undersung foreign player out there. I mean, everyone knows of Huck and Idra, and now all of a sudden we have some more big names rising up. We have Todd, Scarlet just stepped into the scene, doing very well there. But who the hell is LastShadow? LastShadow, I would describe as one of 2 players I really genuinely feared playing against in a lot of the old Brood War USA tournaments because, quite honestly, LastShadow is always very comfortable playing weird, but backing it up with crazy, stupid, solid fundamentals, and most importantly, a really long, solid follow-through process. He carried that over onto StarCraft 2. Many of you may have known about him at the very first MLG Raleigh. He took 4th place, doing some crazy, huge, like bringing a lot of SCVs and just dragging them right on into the like a 15-minute attack, and he would leave like 10 back home, and a lot of people considered it cheesy, but even in situations where he wouldn't win with the attack, he would cripple his opponent in a way that he still had a little bit of an edge. So it was sort of this long-term mass SCV sacking. It was really weird, and for a long time he didn't really rear his head too much. Until recently, he's been staying in Korea training with all the Korean pros, and recently released, this replay pack. LS Replay Pack Korea High Grandmasters. All you have to do to find it is go to teamliquid.net and type in there. LS Replay Pack, and you'll find it. On the Korean server, he's a high master, grandmaster skill level, and as you'll note, literally just by reading, this is him playing games against anyone you can ever hear of: Jockji, Maru Genius, Leenock, Lacira, F91, Ryung, Coco, Soulman, blah blah blah, and you can get that right here. And this is super important to note that the strategy that we're going to talk about today is not just some theoretical strategy. It is not someone just coming up with it and being known for some sort of innovative twist. This literally is, here's a strategy against the best players in the world working. So I guide you to that because I know that there are many people out there who will be saying, I need more Terran help. I need more Terran replays. And considering that like no organizations anywhere have been releasing replays in the last month and a half, this is a wonderful resource that we're going to tap into quite a bit. So what I want to do now is I want to talk about the overall structure of this build that I have so pumped up through and through while I make sure the sound is enabled. Lols. This build or the way that the daily is going to work is we're going to watch 3 games of the build order executed. The first game, we're just going to watch the most basic early portion of it, which is opening with 6 racks and doing a big marine attack early on as we after we expand. Then in game number 2, which I guess will also be in part number 2, we're going to show how this attack leads in to a nice solid mid game that just ends up being cleanly executed. In part number 3, we're going to see a variation on this marine opening play, where we're going to see Last Shadow do a pretty sharp transition into not marines, and then just sort of play out a calm late game Terran vs Protoss. So we'll also get the chance to touch on that a little too. I'm sure many of you have the opinion that Terran vs Protoss becomes impossible once you get maxed. Have no fear, we're going to cover all that. And I guess I'll say this a couple of times. His Twitch TV is twitch.tv/IMLS. IMLS. I am Last Shadow. IMLS. Easy peasy. Because I saw people spamming it in the chat. How do you watch it? What the hell? So, Yosh, for any of you who don't know, is an extremely famous old Brood War player, and I guess Last Shadow's just snatching up the name because that's what cool kids do in StarCraft. We don't ever use our own names. No. I don't know about you, but I certainly don't. Also, this is becoming a popular name on the Korean servers lately. Like, everyone has some combination of this ones and L's and capital I's, and I keep hitting D, and I don't know why. So we're going to see the start of this game. This is on Entombed Valley, which I think is probably one of the shortest rush distances from second base to second base, to second base. So I choose this one to note how comfortable it is to actually open up with a 15 command center. Literally build SCVs to 15, don't scout, and start right off with a command center. You continue to build SCVs and to rally down, where you will now be building 2 barracks. Now, to note, and we're going to see this a couple of times, the building placement of the barracks is paramount of importance. It is so important, so unbelievably important that this building placement is good. 1 barracks on 16, 16-ish, 17-ish, another one on 18. And then, of course, following it up with a supply depot. You're noticing that we're not actually building in SCVs quite right now. You gotta stop at 18 and 19, just make sure you build this depot first. And then churn this out. Notice that this placement allows us to complete a wall off here if there's some sort of zealot that intrudes too early on. But the build becomes pretty self-scripted for the next little bit of time. The SCV that built the barracks immediately builds a bunker. Immediately. And even with our opponent rallying his zealot right on over, we're still generally going to be pretty much fine in terms of defending this. We'll even see another game where there's Chrono Boost used. But okay, so in phase number 2, and note that right now all we're doing is describing the what of the build. Phase number 2, we actually just stop at around 4 Marines, and we keep making SCVs. Guide your eyes up to here. We keep making SCVs, and this is where we throw down 4 more barracks. 4 more barracks. There's 3, there's 4, boom. SCVs never stop production. Marines do stop production. When do we begin Marine production again? When we start this supply depot to break us past 38 food. So this is where I need to come to the Last Shadow cam. And this is where some of the key elements of the strategy are, in that we are going to be trying to gear ourselves up for a big push with these Marines. I'm going to try to describe the basic framework of the why we want to do this. Now, let's pretend for a moment that we accept... Whoopsie daisies. Let me go ahead and put myself to DND. Also, hi, Marky. Hi, Marky. The chat's a little buggy today, so apologies if it's a little bit... If it's a little buggy for you, damn it. So there are some circumstances where you're just going to attack with the 6 racks of Marines, you're going to win. We're going to throw those out the window for now. Here's the basic idea behind it. Right when a Protoss goes for some sort... well, first of all, if a Protoss one bases, there's a number of one base strategies that he can do. Really fast Void Ray, 4 gates, Dark Templar, all these are pretty straightforward to hold off. We're building so many Marines, any big ground attack, hell, even if he brings in a Void Ray, it's going to be kind of easy. If he does some sort of crazy Immortal push, it's going to be kind of easy. Dark Templar will have the detection up. It's going to be pretty easy. It's just not a big deal to hold off because we're building so many Marines at the start of the game. So cool. Now we're up against players who are doing some kind of early expand strategy. When players are early expanding, they will generally, in their long-term play as Protoss, be wanting to get Colossi up, wanting to get upgrades, wanting to get Twilight Council. All these are beyond gateway tech. When we do our 6 barracks Marine push, he has to spend gas to hold it off. That's the big key. He has to spend a good amount of money and gas to hold it off. The gas specifically is the most noteworthy resource there. When we're pushing, envision for a moment if he has 2 sentries and sees a huge swell of Marines coming at him. Well, crap, maybe he can build a couple more sentries. He builds 2 sentries, 200 gas. Boom! That's the amount of gas it takes to build the support bay to get Colossus. Suddenly that's being delayed. It's really hard to deal with Marines building only Zealots, especially if you're in small numbers, so you're going to have to be building a lot of Stalkers. While the Protoss is building Stalkers, probably some sentries as well. He's not spending gas on Robo, he's not spending gas on Twilight, he's not spending gas on Forge. He's not doing interesting things with gas. And Stalkers are pretty expensive on the mineral front too. Given how quickly they build, 125 minerals, 50 gas, you're going to be burning through your cash a lot. So while Protoss is stuck on his small gateway count trying to hold you off, you're back home continuing to build SCVs, continuing to do other stuff. So that is the big what the hell is the point of this build moment. Right here, around 6:30, is where we do this key scan. We haven't really seen anything up to this point in time. Literally 6:30, you will have a scan there. 6:30, or you can wait another 30 seconds and do one at 7:05. I recommend doing this slightly earlier scan if you have no information. But we do this scan at this placement so we can both see how far along his Nexus is and see any other useful, vital tech going down. So here's a question for you. Why, given this information, would a timing push be good? Also notice that he's only just finished his Warp Gate research. And in the unit counting station, he has a Sentry, 2 Stalkers, a Zealot. We have 6 Marines, but we're actually making Marines 6 at a time. Why would now be a good time for a timing push? And the answer is this Robo facility is the biggest answer. In general, if you see no Robo at all, you're still going to do a push. It's still going to force him to make Stalkers and Sentries, and then you're in good shape because you've been forcing him to spend his gas. But here, this is the money moment. And this is why I start with this build, because I want to get you excited about winning before the 8-minute mark. Ha! When we see this Robo facility, this will take a minute to build. So watch what happens. We can literally wait for 1 production round of Marines and go with a fairly small number. Yeah, sure, we killed off the Stalker, and that's a nice bonus, but we're literally going to rally non-stop to the front. And what ends up happening? I just want to note what happens with the battle first. Ignore the production. I'll talk about the follow-up build orders for a moment. He has some amount of units here to defend, but look at this Robo facility. I'm going to have it selected the whole attack. So we end up pushing up here. This can work. It doesn't have to, but it can occur this way. Notice that this Robo facility isn't doing anything. Is it becoming more clear why this attack is so good? It's, the timing. If we see a Robo facility with that 6:30 scan and it's just been started, then we can just go balls to the wall with an attack, and this Robo facility will literally be 200 minerals and 100 gas. That's useless. We hit it at a time where literally that Robo Bay cannot be used. This is just a very nice, crisp timing attack. And that's one of the reasons why this little waltz-up push was so easy. So again, all we've done is explain the logic behind the attack. the logic behind the attack that generally he's going to have to make stalkers, he's going to have to spend gas, and if he went for kind of an early robo facility, he just won't be able to use it. Will attack right as it's finishing up before he started an immortal. And this is kind of nifty that we managed to kill it off, that we managed to kill off everything, but most niftily of all, we started to see how we can exploit some dead weight. And this is because we're going to be doing different types of early pushes, we want to be able to see clearly when it's going to work really well and when we want to sort of move forward and move back. For instance, if let's say our opponent just went 3 gateways and hasn't done anything tech-wise, no Twilight, no Forge, no Robo, if we walk up there and we start to move up and we see 5 sentries and we see like 3-ish stalkers, we can sort of move up and go, oh, that guy spent a lot of gas, and just pull all our units back again. We have successfully messed up our opponent. It's very similar to a Terran player who opens up Hellion against Zerg. All you have to do is be present on the map and move to the front of his base. And Zerg goes, oh, jeez, and he has to be able to spy, and he has to get his queens in position, he has to make sure he has maybe Zergling speed or roaches coming. I don't want to do that, I just want to build drones. Well, you don't get to build drones because I just showed up with some Hellions. Protoss wants so badly to get Colossi or Twilight or Forges, probably all 3, and this set of Marines basically says, you can't do it. Excellent. Now what I want to do is, we saw the battle, we talked about the battle, I want to come back here to the base and notice some important things, economy-wise, that it's easy to flub on. We do not get gas geysers soon at all. After 50 food is generally when we get the geysers. After 50 food, generally even around 55. And the key money number is 3 geysers. 1, 2, and generally a third one down here. Generally a third one. And I say 3 because in this game, we obviously aren't getting it along with the other 2. But we'll see that the 3 geyser thing crop up quite frequently in other games. At this point in time, we can end up doing some fairly intuitive follow-throughs. It looks like our time right now is being spent occupied with the control stuffs at the front. But when you buy yourself a ton of time like this, where, hell, he's not really going to be able to get Colossus very soon, with all that time bought, building a 3rd command center right now is great. Building 2 engineering bays is great. We've bought ourselves a lot of time with this attack. We've delayed his Colossus, and that's a pretty easy follow-through. So again, the delay on the geyser is the important part, but if you build the geysers, make sure to load them right on up. And yeah, cool. Starting to get the engineering bay, focusing a little bit more on the long term, getting a kind of slow add-on. That's another feature that we're going to see quite a bit. The sort of slowness with which we get add-ons throughout all this. Sure, we start stim now. We're going to probably start our +1 when our attention isn't being distracted by winning the game immediately. But it's a pretty nice, easy, clean transition. That might be the cleanest part 1 that has ever happened in the history of the Day 9 Daily, ever. So let's just go ahead and review before we end part 2. God, that was like clean. That was exactly 20-minute segment. Wow. Manfred, we did it. We did good. We did good on this part. Whew. So let's review part 1. The point of this 6 racks push is to force our opponent to be burning a lot of gas to hold off our army, which is largely minerals. This will delay Colossus, delay his upgrades, delay. Cool. We also want to make sure that our building placement is good to hold off stuff. And we also want to make sure that we don't get our gas geysers too early. This is about all we've explored. In part number 2, we're going to take a look at a game that is much longer, that has a sort of series of phases of development. And the most important, easy to overlook thing is that scan that happens at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. That is the big key that's going to help dictate a lot of what we should do with our Marines. So let's go on to part number 2. Woo! Woo! Yeah! Gosh, let's listen to a song that is about romance and love and stuff. Yeah!